Looks like Torii Hunter has a little, like he's grabbing his left hip, or maybe it's his lower back. The old veteran would have taken off. You know, back's a little sore, a little tight. Let me steal this bag.
He's going. He's fouled off, 0-2. All that running for nothing.
Torii Hunter. Hey, great to have you on the show, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
Really cool. People love you here. It's great to hear your voice. What do you think, Torii? How long are you going to do this? I mean, listen, I'm not trying to force you off the field. Are you still having fun? What do you think?
No, I'm still having fun, and I'm still producing, and got close to 50 RBIs before the break, and that's all you can ask for, and got 11 home runs, so possibly hit 20-plus home runs. So it's something that I've always done and been consistent. So if you stay healthy and you go out and do your thing, I think no matter how you start, it's always how you finish. If you do that, you're going to put up the numbers you're capable of putting up if you stay healthy. So if I, God willing, if I stay healthy, and at the end of the season, I'll put up the numbers to help the team win, at the end of the day. And all I want is that World Series ring, and that's what I've been fighting for the last, decade or so.
Torii, one thing that I've talked about with the Minnesota Twins is that I look at this roster and I think to myself, the Twins could use a Torii Hunter because they got a lot of talent coming up through arguably the best farm club in Major League Baseball, and they could look up to somebody like you. You were fortunate enough to play with somebody like Kirby Puckett, and I mean, he left an impression, didn't he? Playing with somebody like that?
Yeah, definitely. In '94, I was able to go to big league camp in spring training, and I had my locker between Dave Winfield and Kirby Puckett, and Kirby and Dave, they took care of me, man. Kirby was always the one to take me to dinner or lunch after a hard day's work, and he'd take me to lunch, and he had this thing called petty cash in his locker. So if you needed cash, you just go in there and take the money and then put it back in there on the honor system. I'll never forget that. I thought that was awesome, and so I was always in his petty cash. And Kirby, he just showed me the ropes, on and off the field, with family, with finances. One of the reasons why I live in Texas, no state taxes, because he told me about it. And so I moved there in like 2000, and I didn't have any state taxes, so he helped me out a lot financially. He helped me out a lot, on the baseball field, how to play the game, how to carry yourself, and different things like that. And he was like a big brother to me, and now I'm being fruitful and giving it back to others.
Torii, what do you think of the Twins organization? I mean, you've been with another good organization in the Angels, very respectable. What are your thoughts now when you look at the Twins from a distance? You spent 10 years here. What do you think about where the organization is right now, and how's it different?
Well, I wouldn't say it's different, because I had a lot of fun when Gardy took over, and he let us play the game. He cracked jokes with us, and we had a lot of fun. I had a relationship with Gardy before he was the manager. He was the third base coach under Tom Kelly's reign, and he and I were best friends, from when I was 18 till he became the manager. He always took care of me, always told me, hey, I asked him when I was 18 years old, I said, hey, what's that pitch with a dot in it? He said, well, Torii, that's a slider. I didn't know what a slider was, and he was the one who told me about it, so I went in the cage and I had, all the guys, Kirby, all these guys throw me sliders, and I just keep throwing them till I learn how to hit them, and it took me a couple of years to learn how to hit that slider, and when I got it, now I love the slider. If you hang it, I'll bang it. And so, I mean, that organization taught me everything, how to grow up and be a man, in the minor league system, and, how to pay my bills, how to do everything.
Right.
And every time I think of Minnesota Twins, I think of just growth for me, that became a man, on and off the field. And so I really appreciate that. That's something that I'll never forget. But just going into other organizations like, the Angels and then the Tigers, they just do things differently. And I had an opportunity to get it from, 3 different teams and 3 different angles, and how to play this game in different ways. And I learned a lot, it's kind of cool that I was able to go to the Angels, after being with the Twins. Twins has their way of playing baseball. The Angels have their way of playing baseball, and the Tigers have their way.
Right.
So I learned a lot along the way, and I'm thankful for that.
Torii Hunter, by the way, on Sports Radio 105, The Ticket. Torii, so you were talking about not knowing how to hit a slider. We're in this sabermetrics advanced stats world now. Do you think a lot of these guys that are coming up, these young guys, are just getting overwhelmed with too much information or not?
No.
Do you see spray charts and all that stuff? Well, what do you think?
No, I don't think they're not. I mean, it's just always good to have an advantage and have that information. I think it's cool. I love it. I love that we have the information, not the stats or numbers or whatever. I just like the information of where a guy's hitting the ball, 80% of the time. He's hitting it. If I'm a right field and he's hitting it over my head 80% of the time and he's blooping 20% of the time, I'm going to take his 80% and let him have the 20%. So just to know those stats and those numbers, that percentage is pretty cool, And when I was coming up, we didn't have that. And but some of these sabermetrics and all that stuff, I don't know how they judge that. I don't know how they come up with that, compute that. But I definitely think that sometimes it gets overwhelming. It's a little too much, and you kind of get away from the game. There's always a truth behind the numbers.
Right.
Something behind the numbers.
If you can dance, you can dance, right?
Right. If you can dance, you can dance. No matter what. What you see is what you get. Ain't no sabermetrics or anything like that. There's always a story behind numbers. And so just like runners in scoring position, a guy hits 350 with runners in scoring position. That doesn't necessarily mean that he's getting the runs in. The man at second's in scoring position, so he might get an infield hit, and now he has an average of runners in scoring position. So when you look at that, it's a story behind that. So you can't get caught up in it. So if you really get caught up in those numbers, you'll be like, oh, this guy, he hit so-and-so, but he's not driving any runs. He's just getting infield singles, or the guy hit the ball too hard to right field and he can't score. So it's something behind the numbers.
Yeah, you can easily get too deep into them, that's for sure. So, Torii, what are you most well known for? The thing that I think about nationally is like back in 2002 when you robbed Barry Bonds of the home run in the All-Star game. That's like the thing I think about. And I actually wasn't in the Twin Cities at the time. I was out in Boston. But what are you known for most? What do people talk to you? What play or what is it?
I mean, well, one thing I'm proud of is just, they come to me and say what you do off the field and what you do with the team and the clubhouse and, just, kind of giving back to guys and being nice to everybody, just having fun and treating people like I want to be treated, loving them like I want to be loved and no matter, despite your title or your level, I think when people come to me and say that, I think I really, really love that. So I hear that more than anything, and that's something that I really appreciate, just the way I carry myself, and and hear people talk about it. That I think my mom would definitely be appreciative of that, and I thank God for giving me the ability to do that.
And you got the ability. Have you thought about where you might want to finish your career, or does it matter? Do you want to just be on a roster where you're competing to win a championship? Because they're going to. Fans want to know that.
That would be the perfect dream. To come back, as a Twin and finish my career, and I'm up in the air.
There's some pretty impressive young players, and some of the guys. Mike Trout, obviously with the Angels. Who are some of the superstars in the league, Torii, that you look at now and you just shake your head and say, "Wow, these guys blow me away with what kind of players they are"? Man,
I look at the Andrew McCutcheons, Miguel Cabrera. You look at Trout. I had a chance to watch that guy grow and impart in him and talk to him. He texts me like every 2 days, 3 days, and talk about something. And I was able to be that big brother like Kirby and all the guys and Paul Molitor and Terry Steinbach and all these guys that have imparted it to me, and I was able to do that for him. And he still calls me to this day and try to get information. So just watching him at 19 years old, 18 and 19 years old, I knew this guy was going to be a star. I'm pretty sure the organization knew it too. He had all the speed in the world, great jumps in the outfield, crazy power, and plate awareness. So he can, he swings at pitches he wants to swing at. And to have that plate awareness remind me of Joe Mauer when he was 18 and 19.
Right.
And I would say the same thing. I'm like, this guy has the presence of Joe Mauer, when he came up. And everybody would laugh. I'm like, no, he has the presence of Joe Mauer. He just has more power at the plate. And not saying that Joe doesn't have any, but this guy displays a lot. And you know, a lot of people are like, no way. I'm like, he is the truth. And Trout has shown it the last couple of years. He's one of the best players, if not the best player in baseball, besides Andrew McCutcheons. So I definitely think that just watching these guys play, I go with Miguel and McCutcheons and Trout. You know, these are my favorite guys in baseball to watch play.
Here's a question for you. Did you ever think you'd have a son that played football at Notre Dame?
I thought I'd have a son that played baseball, maybe
right.
Like Arkansas or Notre Dame or somewhere like that. But football, you know, football was my first love. You know, that's something that I played, you know, my whole life. And I didn't start playing baseball until I was 10. I played football when I was 5, you know, and Walter Payton was my favorite player, Tony Dorsett. And just to, you know, my kids, I guess baseball took me away from those guys all those years in their younger years. And I think they kind of despised it for a while. And then when they got into high school, they got back into it. Torii was drafted by the Tigers and to play baseball, but he broke his femur his senior year. So he was, you know, he redshirted with the Notre Dame, and now he's back playing football. He should be starting or either getting some good playing time next year, and then he'll be able to play baseball as well. So I'm excited to really see him play. And Money, my other son, is at Arkansas State, and my other one's at Bland College, and they're doing pretty well right now.
Yeah, you're blessed. There's no question about it.
I thank God every day to have, you know, kids that going to school, getting it done, doing it their way, you know, and not just trying to live my dream. You know, they have to find their dream, and this is my dream. So they don't have to follow in my footsteps. Just make your own way.
You know, Torii, well said. I mean, it is the truth. I mean, you can say a lot of things to kids, but when you lead by example, there's not more than you can say.
Yeah, and you know, that's something that I did. You know, when I work out, you know, all those years, you know, in the off season, I get up in the morning at 6 a.m. and I go train. I make sure my kids see me. You know, I want them to see. It's not just, you know, you play baseball and that's all you do. Now you have to. It's a lot of work. Private discipline equals public success. And so when you do stuff in private and you get up and you do your thing, it pays off. And these guys were getting up their junior year and senior year of high school, and they were getting up at 5:45 to work out with me, and then go straight to school after the workout. So, you know, the hard work is definitely paid off, and they always come to me all the time and say, "Hey, man, we didn't know what you was doing. We thought you were crazy, but we really appreciate you now." So you have to do that, dads. Get it done.
Yep. Contrary to what the broadcasters say, he's still got game, right, Torii?
Oh, yeah. I'll fool you every once in a while. I'll show you the left and stick you with the right. Don't believe it.
Exactly. Hey, Torii, thanks for finding a couple of minutes. Great to have you on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.